Hi all. Today we can learn modern Indian history. That means the formation of the modern Indian history from British era to the independence until the independence. So mainly today we are beginning about the regulating acts. We know that in Indian history, especially in modern Indian history, after the British tried to rule India. Starting from the Bihar, they have tried to expand Bangladesh, Bengal. They have tried to expand their territory overall India. Okay, till then they were having high ambitions. So the initial part they came here as East India Company. So the role of East India Company is just from the name itself was trade and business, trade and business from our spices, uh, textiles, etc. But after as time passed, they grew their ambition from just from the trading to ruling the territory. Okay, so let's look into detail why here it's given that two time period. This two time period specifies the time of British coming to India and ruling. So this 18 till 1773 to 1858, the continent was ruled by, or the main purpose, the main person who were undertaking the charges were East India Company. Gradually, the power of East India Company reduced from 1773 to 1858, and 1858 it came to zero. In 1858, that means after 1857 revolt, a Government of India Act came. In that act, it specified that British will only have the territorial jurisdiction, administration, everything, and East India Company have to leave India, have to quit India. Okay, initially they were having a trade monopoly for East India Company, etc., and after that at some period of time it was cut, etc. Okay, so let's look detailed into the regulating acts. The first one is history. Okay, before coming into the Regulating Act of 1773, let's look into the history of Regulating Act. Why the Regulating Act was brought by British in order to regulate the East India Company. Why they felt that East India Company needed to be regulated in the Indian subcontinent. Okay, after the Battle of Buxar in 1764, we all know that Battle of Buxar was fought in 1764. Okay, 1764. And Plassey was Battle of Plassey was fought in 1757. Okay, this two time period. After this Battle of Buxar in 1764, Robert Clive introduced dual system of government. Okay, after 1764, Robert Clive introduced dual system of government. That means East India Company under Governor of Bengal Robert Clive and the Nawab of Bengal both will be having the government power and dividing their certain powers. Okay, this led to a lot of distress and Bengal residents. This also led to Bengal famine. This dual government was a failure as they both could not implement certain changes or bring any changes. That led to the Bengal famine. A lot of people died due to famine. Okay, in 1769, East India Company also faced defeat from Hyder Ali. Hyder Ali, we know the father of Tipu Sultan, was from the South India. So East India Company faced challenge from Hyder Ali too. This led to a large debt for East India Company. So East India Company faced a large debt due to these issues. Okay. Further, East India Company asked for 1 million pound. See, East India Company was in large debt as they have to face a lot of defeat from Hyder Ali, and they also had to face certain critical challenges from Bengal, etc. So they were having a lack of money, even though we know that certain big businessmen today have certain debts, etc. So that's very common in the ancient world also. The company was having a large debt, so they asked for a loan. We know that if we are having a debt, we may seek bank for loan. So the company asked for a big loan, that is 1 million pound. And so the British felt that so the prime minister of British was Lord North. North. Lord North was the Prime Minister of British then, so he felt that there should be a change to be brought in order to make certain regulation in the East India Company. The East India Company was not running proper in India. They were having some kind of bribe issues or corruption, etc. Because India was a good market for enough um, in order to yield enough profit. India was a good market. We have spice, tea, cotton, textiles, enough labor, cheap labor, good land, etc. So British know that East India Company was going through a lot of bribe, corruption, and many other kinds of things, and the system is not proper here. So the British government under Lord North set up a committee known as set up a committee. Okay, they brought the Regulating Act. So what is this Regulating Act? We know, we from the word itself we can understand that Regulating Act means to regulate someone. So who are being regulated here? East India Company is being regulated by British government. The British government is regulating East India Company. Okay. This is the foundation and first such act by British government to have control over EIC. This is an important point. You can find this statement in different kinds of exam. You can find it even in UPSC exams, because this is very very important point. This is the first act by British government over East India Company. See, even though we are saying that British came to India in 1600, we know that initially they came here for trading. So the trading purpose were conducted by East India Company. Okay, when the trading and gradually the trading changes to ruling, and that was done that the foundation of this trade to rule was done through this act of 1773. Through this act, they first brought a regulation on East India Company. Gradually, they brought big regulations and take the complete control from East India Company to British government. Okay, so this is the first foundation and first act. Governor of Bengal was changed to Governor General of Bengal. See, there is a change. We know Robert Clive was the Governor of Bengal in Battle of Plassey. So here, Battle of Buxar, we know that Governor of Bengal is a term given to that person. So we are saying that Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of India. Like that, Governor of Bengal is given a term to a certain person who is being appointed there. That was changed into Governor General of Bengal. So you can expect questions like who was the first Governor General of Bengal, or you can expect statements like first Governor General of Bengal was Warren Hastings such. Okay, and 4-member executive council were done to assist the Governor General. So the Governor General, who is it? Warren Hastings is there, and he will be having 4-member executive council. This will be like for subordinate, not subordinate, for member, for like 4 servants, like to assist Governor General in certain issues, etc. He can't handle the whole territorial jurisdiction. And Bombay and Madras presidencies were subordinate, unlike earlier. Okay, Bombay and Madras presidency were subordinate. So we know that apart from Bengal, apart from, in this picture we can see that apart from this Bengal region, the British was having control over the Madras and Bombay presidency. So these run as a subordinate under this act. So these three have to run in a unity like fashion, because we know that they know that the Mughal Empire is there, Marathas are there, and we know that during that time there was French, Dutch, etc. So these all were having power, the wish to have the control over India. So in order to ensure that British is the supreme power, they made a treaty that these three will run as subordinate. Okay, that's the reason for that unity. Okay, and after that, so foundation stone, governor, 4-member executive, and subordinate. Company servants can't bribe. So this was the main reason we told that companies was having a lot of debt or crisis. This crisis were maybe due to the bribe or private trade, etc. The company was not indulging in the proper way of trading. So in order to prevent from that debt, the East India the British also make sure that company servants can't bribe or debt. Supreme Court of Calcutta was established. We know in order to make a control of anything, Regulation Act is a regulation of anything. We need a Supreme Court or a court. We just need the law system. The law system was bring through the Supreme Court. So the first Supreme Court of India is not in the New Delhi, as now we can see the Supreme Court in New Delhi. It's not like that. Earlier it was in Calcutta. Okay, Kolkata. Earlier it was known as Calcutta for British convenience, and there were one Chief Justice and 3 judges. We know today we have a lot of judges, different benches of judges and one Chief Justice. Okay, like that. D.Y. Chandrachud is current Chief Justice of India, I think, and like that earlier we had a lot of Chief Justice, only 3 judges and one Chief Justice. And this Chief Justice name may be, you can hear somewhere, it's Eliza Impe. Okay, Eliza Impe. Eliza Impe. So I think just learning this much point you can help. It will be helpful for you to answer any kind of statement question from Regulating Act of 1773, because I think I have given you enough point for the competitive exam and whatever it may be asked like this. So this is just Regulating Act of 1773. In further classes we will discuss the next acts like Regulating Act of 1793, Pitts Act. Likewise we have different kinds of act. You can see in this Amending Act is there, Pitts Act is there, Charter Acts of 1793 is there. Like that we have different kinds of acts. So this is the first foundation stone act of British government to control the East India Company. Okay, this is it. So thank you.